guys announced their brand new bracket challenge, layup, onomatopoeia, Hercules, and spoilers. And they try to educate Kevin, as hard as that may be. All that and more this week on Just Press Play.
How many losing seasons does Tom Brady have to have before you can fire him?
Well, he's got to have one. He's about to win the MVP.
Yeah, he's but I'm just saying, like,
It's not an unnecessary roughness. It was a completely necessary roughness.
that's a good point.
The man rushed for 170 yards is what he got credit for, but he walked and ran a total of like 300 yards.
As soon as it came out of my face, I knew how dumb that was.
Alrighty, and here we are. It's another week, and Selection Sunday is when we're recording this. So we have some stuff coming up on March Madness, some news coming up regarding the Just Press Play podcast. But guys, I just want to start off. We don't usually do this, but I want to start out with a little bit of politics going on with all of the issues going on with the NRA and different gun arguments going on. The NFL has decided to take our guns away. And Ed Hercules is gone.
Oh, yeah.
And he has announced his retiring. So I want to just play a little something for y'all, and we can cut it off at some point. But this is just for you and the listeners' ears. We're never going to get this description of a call ever again.
There was no foul on the play. It was not a hold. The defender was just overpowered. Yes, there are penalties in the Pro Bowl. Pass interference. Defense number 24. The ball is placed at the 1 yard line. First down.
Keep in mind, you have a new center for Carson Palmer this year.
The whole offensive line.
How about
5 yard
that?
penalty. The whole offensive line. Second down. There were 2 fouls by the defense. Offense. Correct. I'm sorry.
He's a lawyer.
Offside defense foul on the prior play. My flag was being returned to me. It was tossed back to me, hit the ground. When that happened, the clock operator thought there was a penalty and stopped the clock. The clock should have continued to run. There should be 12 seconds taken off the clock. So it should be 124. Take the play clock down 12 seconds as well.
That's
So
awesome.
we'll never get that type of description for a call ever again. So we're just, as a fan, we'll just be lost from now on.
Do you remember the one where he threw the flag and he came to explain? He goes, number 52 was giving him the business. That's what he said. I'm going to miss Hercules. I'm going to miss him.
You know, we've poured one out every now and then, and here's another time where we need to pour a little bit out for old Ed.
Pour a little liquor for old Ed.
Which I've noticed there's quite a few, and many people have noticed. I'm not the first, but there's quite a few refs that have moved to the schmedium shirt with the good bicep coming out.
The schmedium.
Ed started that, right? That was all Hercules, however you want
Ed
to call it.
Guns Hercules, the gun show.
That's the first person I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Me too.
Did you see that he entered in 2014, but this season, Sean Hercules, his son, will be promoted to on the field reffing. He won't be a head like Ed. We lose one, gain one, so at least there is that.
Yeah.
The reincarnation of Hercules.
And that's how I wanted to start it out. Our new segment we're going to do called Best and Worst, and that is my worst of the week. That was the worst news I saw from the week.
Fair enough.
So on that note, one of y'all want to go with your worst of the week?
Well, this is a real short one. Joe Lenardi's here. What's going on there? I don't know. Anyway, I don't.
Joe,
we don't have to discuss a lot, but something's up with Joe Lenardi's hair.
Joey spends a lot of time down in his bunker watching games, and he has a lot more to worry about than hair, I think. I don't think he worries too much about his on-screen appearance very
I think
often.
he just sets it off to the side when he's done, maybe. But at any rate,
His hair, he just sets his hair to the side.
I think he might. It looks like it's like plastic to me. But okay, that's not my worst. And y'all may disagree, but the Academy Awards.
So we got multiple worst here.
But that was just
Okay.
real quick.
The
The
second
Academy
worst.
Awards, The Shape of Water winning. I haven't seen it. So true.
What the hell are you talking about?
No, listen to me. I haven't seen it, but of all, what was there, 9 nominees? That's the one I want to see the least. I'm just saying. I think it's...
That's the one I want to see the most.
Okay, why? It looks like The Creature from the Black Lagoon with the...
Guillermo
what?
del Toro is a genius.
What else has he done, LJ?
Pan's Labyrinth is his most famous movie.
Okay.
He's a different kind of animal. He's a different kind of animal.
Have you?
So,
you haven't seen it yet?
I have not.
Okay. Well, I'll see it and then I'll give a fair report on it. But I just was disappointed in that winning.
I loved your reasoning. The reason it's the worst is because you haven't seen it.
No. I was saying, to be truthful, I haven't seen it. I want to be fair and honest, but I'm just saying that's the one I least even want to see. I was just disappointed in it winning. That's all I'm saying.
I too was not. It just seems odd to me. I'm intrigued a little, just kind of because LJ, but it seems weird. The girl falling in love with the fish, and
well, it is weird. I saw a trailer for it 8 or 9 months ago, and I've been wanting to see it since then. I haven't been able to because I don't have money to go see movies. But
I was pulling for 3 billboards. I'll give it that. But I had seen that one too. So.
I was partial. I know I'm partial to Get Out. I loved Get Out.
Yeah,
I thought
I was rooting
great,
for that one. I think that was my favorite. Well, that's the only one I've seen, but it was a spectacular movie.
Okay, this just in. If you've seen the movie.
So before we really start breaking down the Academy Awards, we should probably watch more than one of the movies.
2 movies, yeah.
That was my worst, so I'm sorry.
All right, LJ, besides our grading of the Academy Awards, what's your worst of the week?
All right. So the show I'm working on right now is Legally Blonde Jr., the musical. So if there was ever a movie that you thought needed to become a musical, Legally Blonde's probably your first thought, right?
Well, first off, there's not enough Legally Blondes made. That's for sure.
And then, okay, so and then we tag on the junior. So we've got 11, 12-year-olds doing the bend and snap. So it's just generally, this is a good production. It's tastefully done. It's fun. There's no need for this musical to exist, just at all. So it's my worst of the week.
I will say, when you said Legally Blonde, I want to say shout out to Sister Kel. That's who I watched Legally Blonde with back when I was younger. And
for sure.
I think Reese Witherspoon may be my first crush. I was in love. Still am. I would love to meet Reese Witherspoon.
She's all right, even without her spoon.
Help. Put me on that list. I like Reese Witherspoon.
On the best of the week, I want to give. I don't even know the guy's name, but I went to the bar yesterday to watch the Arkansas-Tennessee game, and Arkansas got hammered. They ran into a buzzsaw. And Tennessee, I think, shot 85% in the first half. They just could not miss.
Out. Yeah.
And the guy that I was sitting beside watching the game with was a Tennessee fan. He was here in Arkansas working, and he just happened to be here. And it was an inopportune time for him to be watching the Tennessee game with a bunch of Arkansas fans. But he easily could have been a total jackass and been obnoxious. And it was a good time I spent. We both had some wings, had some beer, watched the games, and talked about old Tennessee teams, old Arkansas teams. And the best is a casual sportsman that I don't even know the guy's name. I'll never see him again. But it was just cool to sit there and watch the game with them and both of us be fans of the opposing teams. And we both made jabs at the teams, but it was a good time. It was very enjoyable. Shout out to him.
Cool. Yeah.
And I wanted to give since Dad's given out multiple worst, I have an honorable mention for best of the week. I really didn't know where to throw this into, but the Spurs lost to the Thunder 104-94 Saturday night, and that breaks an incredible streak. I know the Spurs have been good for a while, but that's going to give them their first losing season on a road record. So they have a losing season on the road in the regular season for the first time in over 20 years since 96-97. And the last time that year, 96-97, they ended up getting some guy. I don't know if y'all remember him. He's retired now. Some guy named Tim Duncan the following year in the lottery.
Oh, yeah. Heard of that guy.
Worked out all right for him, I would say.
You would think, yeah. Seemed that way.
But I didn't know if that was the worst since that streak's been snapped, or I wanted to just give him a shout out for that. Is amazing. 20 years without having a losing road record. I thought that was impressive.
That's crazy.
But on to you, Dad. What's your best of the week?
Well, I almost didn't pick this, but I thought it. I wrote it down first, and I asked Tammy, and she agreed with me. It's going to sound a little political, but I'm kind of proud of Trump getting a meeting with Kim Jong-un. I mean, that seems like a good development. They're going to at least talk. It sounds like, and I don't know if I'm saying the guy's name right, but the North Korean
Kim Jong-un
guy is maybe going to denuclearize, and he's going to talk. So, I thought. Again, we're not a political show at all, but I thought Trump handled it a little scary, high school calling names, and now they're going to meet. And that is a plus to me. That was good news.
And with the South Korean leader too, so I think that's
Moon. I think is his name. Yeah.
And so that's I kind of wish we'd send somebody that I trust to not sound like an idiot to go talk to him. But like the conversation being had is a spectacular development. I agree with that. That's really good.
Yeah. Can we finally get an answer? Are they both going to bring their buttons to see who has the bigger button, or is that going to stay up for debate?
I mean, I do think they're going to do some measuring, if you know what I mean. I think that's what that might be about.
But yeah, I don't know what the turn of heart was for North Korea, but I think it's spectacular. Like it might have been going to the Olympics and seeing the rest of the world isn't this. I don't know. It's really good.
Yeah.
All right, and Elle, what do you got for best of the week?
There's a new hip hop supergroup out that just dropped an album on Amazon called August Green, and they're made up of Common, a guy named Robert Glasper, and a guy named Kareem Riggins, and the album's really good. It's poetic, it's interesting, it's really good. Robert Glasper is the premier hip hop pianist. He's just really good. Hard to describe, but check it out.
Okay, August Green.
Mm-hmm.
Is it pronounced pianist? I thought it was pronounced penis.
No, I don't think so.
The A is in there. You don't have to emphasize it as much as I did. It's like pianist, but that A still needs to make it in.
He would be whatever the second thing you said.
He's the best hip hop penis.
He's a penis.
It wouldn't be the first time I mispronounced something, or the last. I'll go ahead and throw that out there. I'm shocked. I really thought someone would throw in especially you, Dad. I was expecting a Tiger Woods.
Okay, I knew he was leading.
He didn't win.
Okay.
He didn't win. He got tied for second in the Valspar.
Okay.
Or regional, whatever it was. But I will say, what makes Tiger this so great is that I was actually on a Sunday where there was a conference championship with Cincinnati and Houston playing in the American Athletic Conference Championship. Both those teams will be in the NCAA tournament. And I was checking my guide to see if I could find the Valspar Invitational to see if Tiger was going to win. So he does bring eyes to the game. I don't know if y'all follow who Nick Wright is. He's on the radio, does the First Things First. He's with Fox Sports.
Yeah.
But Friday when Tiger he shot like 4 under and got 5 under for the tournament and was going into the weekend tied for second. Yeah. Nick Wright came out with he's one of the blazing hot take kind of guys, and he came out with, this is the single most exciting moment in sports since LeBron has blocked Iguodala.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
That seems bold to me. The fact that he's going into the weekend tied for second in the Valspar Invitational doesn't seem to be...
Would that be trafficking in hyperbole, perhaps?
I think it might.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Perhaps. And that'll conclude our best and worst of the week. So now I wanted to get on to the layup segment. And I wanted to start out the layup segment with, it's bracket time, baby. It's March Madness.
March Madness.
How many brackets is reasonable to fill out? Can you fill out 80 million brackets? Do you fill out one? LJ, I want to give it to you first. How many brackets do you say?
What's reasonable, or like how many do I do?
I think how many do you do?
What's your rule of thumb?
Well, I've filled out 2 brackets in my entire life.
Wait,
I won one of them.
Only filled out 2 in your entire life?
Wow.
It's just not something I do. Yeah, I watch the games. I don't compete. I won the first time I filled one out, and so the second time I filled one out, I thought this is just a piece of cake. I did not win or even come close to the top 10, so I thought this is not as fun as it was the first time. I think I'll just stop there. But you can fill out as many as you want. I don't think there's any issue with it.
You don't have any issue with someone filling out 15, 20, especially now with all the different apps where it's easy, like ESPN and CBS and all them have made it so easy to fill one out, which is awesome, but it also makes it to where you'll get, I think they put a limit on so many, but you can make another account and make 20 more if you want. And you get like, I forget, I don't know if they still do it, but I know like Bill Gates did the $1 million to anyone who can fill out a perfect bracket. So people obviously with that chance made a ton of them. But Dad, what do you say? Is there a limit on?
I think there's a gentleman's limit of probably, I think 3 personally. I'm going to fill out 2 every year. And by the way, I've been doing this for at least 20 years, and I've never won it. LJ does it his first year and wins it. Wow. Whatever. Okay. But so I said, I do one, I go with my gut, but I don't go with my gut like a Panther can beat an Osprey, or something like that. I mean, I do go,
Sure.
Well, I mean, I have some semblance of the teams and who the conferences are. So I go one totally with my gut. And then another one, I'll look at some analytics, like Pomeroy or something like that, some kind of rankings, and use those. And every now and then I'll do a third, but my max is probably 3. I don't want to put that much effort into it. I mean, 3 would be my max.
But if somebody you knew was filling out like 30 brackets, would you be like, come on, man, like, what are you doing? Or is that totally up to them?
I would be like, get a life, but I mean, it's your life. You do what you want,
Sure.
but
Sure.
But yeah.
What about you, Kev? What's your answer?
Well, so I don't like the person that fills out a ton of them. But in my opinion, you can fill out, you don't need to have one sheet. Like I think is it Greeny Dad that on Mike and Mike, he would always say you only fill out one. You have one sheet and you stick true to it. I like filling out, I usually fill out multiple, but I have like my bracket. So I'm going to fill out my Just Press Play bracket, and we'll get into that. But I'm going to fill out my bracket, and that's going to be the one where if I'm right, I'm right. Like, that's what I go with. And I'm going to take credit for the final 4 teams I get right in that one. But I don't like it when someone fills out 10 and they go, oh, I still have 15 teams left in my Sweet 16. It's like, yeah, but you also have the one you were telling me about after the first couple of games that has 5 teams left in your Sweet 16. Like, sure, one of them's going to be decent, but I pick one to be my go-to bracket. And if you fill out 3 and you end up obviously you bring up your one that's doing good, that out of the 3, that's fine, but don't make 20 of them and then tell me how good one of your brackets doing when you filled out one all upsets, one all favorites, one all, whatever. that's annoying to me.
I'm like you though. Yeah, my gut one is always, that's the one I call my bracket. That's mine. So
yeah.
Now, if I win on the other one, I'm still pretty tickled. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance and do the wild thing, but nasty leg. But one's mine.
All right, and that'll do that one. So now we'll go on to our next layup, which will be the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are rolling out a new concession item, and it's going to be a bacon mac and cheese ball.
Oh, that sounds
so good. This essentially is going to be, you got your mac and cheese, and they're going to kind of mix this in with some paprika and on bacon grease, and then they're going to add in a bunch of bacon, and they're going to mix that around, and then they're going to ball that up, dip it in some flour, panko, egg wash, and bacon dust, and deep fry that. First off, get in my belly is my first reaction.
I'll take 3 orders.
Egg wash? What is egg wash?
It's just like, you put the egg over it. You put
you put it in flour,
eggs.
then you put it in the egg so it sticks, and then you put it in the panko.
And then bacon dust?
It's basically, they literally grind up bacon to get bacon dust.
There's a lot of bacon in this. Okay.
First off, there's no such thing as too much bacon. But
if you believe bacon dust can do anything.
What is y'all's stance on concession stand foods? Like, if y'all go to, I want to just ask, favorite thing you've got at a concession stand? Go, Dad.
Me? All right. I'm a hot dog guy. I like a big, fat, juicy hot dog when I go to a game. Number one, and don't get chili on it because it's going to be a mess. No, it's just, no. I like a hot dog with mustard and a big cold beer, and I can eat the hot dog. I don't make a mess. It tastes better at the game, and
it's hard to beat a classic on a summer day. That's good.
But now I like to get it out. It's got to have a little, it's got to have a little blister on it or two. I want it to be hot. I like a blister on my dog.
I only think about a hot dog at a baseball game. Sorry, LJ. I was gonna hold my laugh, and then when I heard someone else laugh. LJ, what's your favorite thing to get at a concession stand?
I've got fond memories of getting those like little those frozen lemonade pops or whatever. You know, the little cup of like frozen
that's the
lemonade.
first thing that came to mind. I remember y'all getting those. I always thought those were overrated, personally.
I loved them. You can get them at the grocery store now, and they mean nothing to me. But like they still like I remember them. But of actual real food, I think like a chili dog is the right answer. I think you were close, Dad, but just not all the way there.
You were close, but you forgot the chili.
They're so messy. It's just ugh.
What kind of prom are you going to afterwards?
Well, I mean, you got to walk down that aisle with people and put your ass in their face and try to get by with your beer and your hot dog. I don't want to spill chili on everybody or myself.
Yeah, that's their problem. Free chili. Okay. Shout out to Lupe Fiasco.
Food and liquor, baby. I would say for the most part, I avoid concession stands at games. That's just too expensive. Yeah. I love what the Atlanta Falcons are doing with the cheaper concession stand stuff. I think that's really cool and worth getting onto at some point. Mm-hmm. I really just go with like drinks, like beer at a concession stand, just because that's if I'm going to like a game. Now, I will say if I go to I used to love at like a high school basketball game or a high school football game getting nachos. I just like some good old nachos with some
that
jalapenos.
Nasty cheese stuff.
Yeah, just that crappy so cheese that's got to be awful for you, but I just
Ricos,
those are
always
really good.
Ricos.
Hey, have y'all ever had? Did you ever get the little Frito pie where they just cut the Fritos open sideways and dump the chili in there?
Yeah,
and you just that was always good. You know, just eating it out of the Frito bag. You never did that, LJ?
Oh, yeah. Yo, absolutely. Sorry, yeah, I did. I misunderstood what you meant by cut the Fritos open.
Yeah, you just cut it
long Debate here. All right, the thing that Frito pies come in. You know, if they put like a Frito. And they put the chili and cheese. It comes in that little thing.
Boat.
I don't want to call it something. Okay, what do you call that?
A boat. Isn't it like a little boat? They call it like a banana.
I call it a boat.
Like a banana split boat. Yeah.
Do you call it? What do you call it?
What are you talking about?
At a concession stand, that they put it in a plastic. They put it in a little paper thing.
Paper container.
Oh my God! Oh, I call them trays, and I know that's not useful.
See, you're wrong. I think you're wrong.
I agree. It's a boat.
I'm aware that I'm wrong. That's just what I call it.
Hey, I have one more question on the bacon mac thing, by the way.
As many as you'd like. Let's go.
Let's keep talking.
You know who Antoine Walker is, Kevin?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He had too many. He had too many of those.
I think he may be the official taste tester for the bacon macs. I'm telling you.
That was the demise of his career. He got paid by, I think, the Celtics or maybe the Heat. One of them, they paid him a big contract, and he went to the steakhouse with it.
Ate that money.
I'm telling you, he's blown up and not in the best way. It's just he big boy. Anyway,
is it just me getting on going back to the concession stand stuff? I'm so frugal. I know me and a couple buddies, we went to the state championship games in Austin, or it was in Dallas when we went for the Texas state championship games. No, this was in Houston, and you could buy a large drink and get free refills, and you get like the souvenir cups. And I think if I remember right, the other friends were like Lane was like, yeah, I'll buy it, whatever. But me and Cody thought that seems like a lot of money for like $6 for a drink. So I found one tell me if I'm nasty. I found a souvenir cup on the ground and went to the restroom, cleaned it out, and went to the concession stand and got free Coke for the rest of the day. Because the way the state championship works, you're there from 12 to 9. So you're there for like 9 hours. I cleaned it out though with water. I mean,
well, you're at least cheap. I'll say that.
Yeah. Frugal at least.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say a positive thing about that.
Well, then we'll move on. We'll just move on to the next. We will. LJ, let's get on some spoilers. I hear you have an issue.
Now, explain spoilers. What are we talking about?
So spoilers. So like if you're talking about a TV show or a movie,
not on the back of a car, right?
Right. No. Yeah. This is like this is in media.
Series or
So like if you're watching Game of Thrones and somebody tells you something that's going to happen, they in a sense spoiled it for you.
Spoiler alerts.
So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Spoiler alerts. I think that spoiler culture has gotten way out of hand because you can't talk about any you can't just openly talk about a thing you like because there's someone in the group that just started the series or hasn't seen that movie yet. And if you talk about anything about it, then you're going to apparently ruin all of the watching experience. Whereas if your show requires that you don't know anything going into it, maybe it's just a shitty show. Like maybe you need to have a show because like it's not like people watch the Titanic and they were like, but don't tell me what happens at the end. I don't want to know what happens at the end of the Titanic. And like you look at, I think Game of Thrones is the most notorious for it, but Game of Thrones is also the TV show with the most people that already know what's going to happen. You know, like book readers already know everything that happened in those first few seasons. And then show watchers went back and read the books because it's not like it's a story that you need to be surprised by to find merit in it. I'm sick and tired of everybody being so worried about spoilers.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
I think that's fair. Well, I mean, what do you guys think? Is it like...
I don't want to be spoiled. I agree. It seems like we can't talk about anything. And you mentioned this before pre-show, but there's so many damn shows now.
Yeah.
That you can't be caught up on all of them. Yeah. But I don't want you to tell me what, like, if you're going to tell me I need to go watch Westworld, don't tell me what's going to happen in it.
I mean, yeah. I think if you're telling somebody to check it out, but if I'm casually talking with my friends about Westworld and you happen to walk into the room, you can't tell me to shut up. You leave the room if it's your problem. You know what I mean? Like
you leave the room. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And if I want to,
okay, I agree with that. Then yes.
And then one thing I wanted to bring up too with spoiler culture is like the people who are the worst about spoilers. They'll do things like they'll say like, okay, so who's your favorite character? And then you'll throw out a character and they'll be like, oh, well, I'm not going to tell you anything. And it's like, so you did. I know something now. I hate it when people.
Yeah. So are you saying you're against that, LJ? I mean, that
I'm against the hypocrisy of you don't want spoilers, but you're going to give me something anyway. And then it's going to be my fault that I deduced what you were talking about.
Well, okay. Well, I have something to say on spoilers. I really hear what LJ's saying, and that's hard to disagree with. But I do think there's a respectable amount of time. I know you guys knew I was watching Ozark,
right?
And I know at least LJ had watched it, and so he didn't tell me a lot about it. I've seen the whole first season.
It's good.
It's badass.
It's
show.
good.
I'm waiting for season 2.
Don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it for me.
I mean, I just said it's good.
I'm just saying.
But so like I think the time has passed. I think you can tell how Breaking Bad ended now.
Sure.
I mean, if you hadn't watched Breaking Bad by now, I'm sorry. You know, I could talk about anything I want to talk about it. And I will also add one of the worst spoiler that I ever remember seeing. And I guess this will be a spoiler
alert.
But y'all will probably know what I'm talking about. Spoiler alert. So Herm Edwards was on Mike and Mike. Did you remember this, Kevin? You might have seen it. And he gives something away in Game of Thrones.
Oh, no, he didn't.
In the last season.
Game of Thrones spoilers. Skip ahead 30 seconds to avoid.
I think I
remember he said, well, the bad guy's got it. Can I just say it? Is it bad? Is that a spoiler?
Yeah, has the time gone by? Enough time gone by?
I don't know.
Well,
but
I want to know what he said.
Game of Thrones spoiler alert. I'm going to say it. So
we'll bleep it out. We'll bleep it out.
We'll bleep it out for you too. But he gets on like the week after it happened. He goes, the bad guy's got a dragon. You know, I mean, that was too fast.
Well, it's the problem with our times too now is at one point in radio, The Sopranos came out on Thursday nights. You set your day according to watch it when it came out. Now Game of Thrones comes out on Sunday, and most people are watching them, but it's so streamable, and we're such a streamable society now that you watch it when you get your time to.
Well, and that's
you don't necessarily watch it on Sunday.
That's what kills me though, is like that is an awesome reference to make if he's talking about something somebody did in the NFL or something like that. Like that is a cool, culturally relevant reference that people will respond to, but you're not allowed to say it because there's a large enough audience that just hasn't watched it yet. And like, whose fault is that? I don't know. If you're like that worried about being caught up on it, then keep up on it.
Then keep caught up. Yeah, fair.
All right. Hey, LJ, how about you tell me about Monty Hall?
Well, have you guys ever heard of the Monty Hall problem?
I have no idea what you were talking about.
Is this Monty Hall from the old game show?
Yeah, so I'm assuming you haven't heard of the problem. Basically, on Let's Make a Deal, the way that it works
Let's Make a Deal.
Is a lot of times you'd be presented with 3 doors, right?
Okay.
And then you would pick a door that you think the big prize is behind. And then Monty Hall, and there 2 of them have goats behind them. One of them has the big prize. So then Monty Hall would open up a door and show you a goat behind. So if you pick door number 3, he'll open up door number 2 and show you the goat behind there. And then he'll ask you, do you want to switch to door number 1 or keep door number 3? What do you do in that situation?
I stay with my initial thought. I stay with my gut.
Well, statistics says you are wrong because
Really?
yeah, if you change doors, you have a 66% chance of winning the prize. If you keep your same door, you only have a 33% chance of keeping your prize.
Wait, huh?
Okay.
Okay, let's break it down from so that's the Monty Hall problem. It's this weird statistical anomaly that like it doesn't make sense at first look. But let's break it down from a bigger perspective. Let's imagine there are 50 doors, right?
Okay.
And you pick door number 3.
Okay.
Right? So you have a 1 in 50 shot of getting it right.
Okay.
So then Monty Hall opens up 48 doors and they all have goats behind them. So now you're stuck with this one door and then the one door he didn't open. Do you keep it or do you switch?
What? I kind of want to keep it because it's. I was right first time.
What do you mean you were right? No, he's just not going to show you that you had a goat behind your door. You had a 1 in 50 shot when you first picked it, but now
1 in 33.
he's opened up
1 in. Well,
So,
you have 3 doors actually, right? You have 48, 49, and 50, right? So, right? You said he opened 48
No,
doors. No, 48 doors, so there's 2 left. You have a 50-50 chance now.
Yeah, except for the fact that you picked that door when there were 49 goats to be had, and he showed you all of the other doors, leaving
But
there
now
only
there's
to
2
be
closed doors, and you don't know what's behind either one of them, right?
right. But chances are he showed you all of the ones that had goats besides yours. Like, what are the chances that you picked the one without the goats at the beginning? It's 1 in 50, right?
2%.
Yeah.
So, then when he opens up all the doors, that doesn't change the chance that that one had a goat behind it, right?
Right.
True.
Okay.
True,
So
okay,
then you're looking at the 1 in 50 shot you had to get it right in the first place, or the one door he didn't open.
So he's tricking us.
Well, he's not tricking us. Your brain's tricking you into thinking that you were lucky enough to not have the one with the goat, but you're always going to have the first one. He's never going to open your door and say, "Oh, by the way, there was a goat in this one. Do you want to change?"
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
So then if you bring that down to 1 in 3, it works the exact same way, where you should always switch. You're not always going to win, but 66% of the time you'll win.
I'm going to have to do some math, but I see what you're saying. I get that. Okay. Yeah. Things that make you go, huh?
And I wanted to bring up to you guys the Geek Squad and the FBI. I don't know if you'd heard about this, but 3 computers, one from New Jersey, one from California, and one from right here in Fort Smith, Arkansas, containing child pornography came to the FBI through informants working for Best Buy's Geek Squad. As you know, Dad, you take your computer if something's wrong with it, and you can take it to the Geek Squad, and they'll fix it for you. Well, when you do that, the records show that the FBI paid the Geek Squad workers to flag illegal material found on computers of customers. So they could go through their hard drive, and they could, if they found something, they could flag it to the FBI. That seems like a breach of privacy, does it not?
I don't know. I think that the FBI might not should have.
The Geek Squad workers also received money for it.
Received $500.
One of them got
yeah.
One got $500 from it. I mean, they don't know what. Some could have got more or less, but the one they know, he received $500 for.
I think the FBI shouldn't have paid for that information. I don't think that's because most people working in tech, I'm sure.
And I don't want to act like I'm defending someone that's
absolutely not. No,
doing child pornography at all. But I'm just, as far as Fourth Amendment goes, which the Fourth Amendment is the right of people to be secure in their person's house.
Unlawful search and seizure is illegal.
Yeah, unlawful search and seizure. So I give it to Best Buy to work on my computer, and the FBI had no reason to search my computer, but now the person that I'm paying to fix it says, "Hey, by the way, I don't know, I guess it's Best Buy being a tattletale."
I think if you've got a dead body in your trunk, you better damn well know how to fix a flat tire.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's a great analogy. That's what I'm thinking. If you're into something untoward and it's on your laptop and you take it to get fixed and you're stupid enough to leave it on there, you probably deserve to get caught.
Now, is the FBI being unlawful in their search and seizure?
Maybe.
Possibly. Because they're paying for it. If they're not paying for it, I mean, I think people would still say, "Hey, this computer, by the way, had some stuff on it." Because I don't think people are going to see that and then be like, "Oh, he's just into some weird stuff, you know, whatever. Let's just pretend we didn't see that." Like, people are going to report that, I think.
Well, I hope.
So the FBI paying for it is the problem.
Best Buy's statement on it was they described the decision for employees to receive payment as, quote, "very poor judgment and inconsistent with our training and policies," but that they also noted that employees, quote, "have a moral and in more than 20 states a legal obligation to report inadvertent findings of child pornography."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I think you are obligated. I think if you see something like that, you're obligated to tell somebody. So maybe LJ's right. You don't have to pay for it.
So
but
the real issue is just FBI paying for it or not.
Yeah,
maybe,
I think
but
that's because the problem there, in my opinion, is you could have Geek Squad members like, oh, you get a $500 paycheck. Let me dump something on somebody's computer I don't know just so I can get that quick little paycheck. That's the danger in paying for it. And that's where the unlawful search and seizure. That's why that rule exists.
yeah.
But yeah, if you've got child pornography on your computer and you take it to a computer repairman, I mean, you deserve to get caught. You deserve to get caught anyway because that's awful. That's heinous. But
okay, and now to take a turn away from that subject, Dad, can you do me a favor and spell the sound of a sniff? Like,
yes, I can spell it. SNIFF.
No. Like the sound you make it when you
sound.
sniff. That sound, like, if when you sniff something, what is that sound? How do you spell it?
You're trying to get me to do an onomatopoeia, by the way. But
yeah.
And if you're sitting in the car right now and you're sniffing, 100. I spent 30 minutes earlier today sniffing, trying to think of how this would sound. So you're not alone.
Well, but I don't know how you would spell that sound, but you can't spell every sound. But like buzz, you can spell that sound with words, with letters, and that's an onomatopoeia. Sure. Buzz or hum is another example.
Sure. So your definition of onomatopoeias is on point. What's the answer to the question, though?
Well, I mean, I don't think. I mean, you can't.
Thank you for that.
You can't. Everything's not an onomatopoeia. That's what I'm telling you. That you're saying make this an onomatopoeia, and you can't make it one because it's not. It's like blink. I mean, I can't. I mean, blink your eyes. How does that sound? Spell that sound. Okay.
Well, it's just. That's how you spell it. It's just
sound. There's no sound. Yeah. It's nothing. Right. Bad radio here, but here's how you spell it.
Okay. Well, I'm game. I don't know. How do you freaking smell sniff? Or how do you? I mean, how do you spell the sound? How do you spell that?
So I did some Googling on this, and apparently, sniff is an onomatopoeia, and that is allegedly the best way they could come up with to describe the sound of a sniff is by the word sniff.
Sniff.
There's not an S though.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but there's also not a B in buzz. It just goes zzz.
I don't know. Is there an H in hum? Yeah. I guess it's a silent H. I don't know. Hum.
And so to hammer the point home, I asked Hannah the question, and she sniffed twice and then said, I'd put like 3 Fs. And so then I did it. I went, they sound the same to me. They're totally the same. Okay. So I think she nailed it. I think, and so that proves that sniff is not onomatopoeia. They put the double F in there. So I think that's the answer.
Okay, I'll go with it. Horn.
And to any listeners, if y'all have the correct spelling or you think you have it, please tell us, because I don't think we've nailed this down just yet. But March Madness. Let's get on to it. I don't know, Dad. Do you know that both of y'all have dogs? You know that how excited they are when they can hear the garage open or the keys in the door. Mm-hmm. You can just hear their excitement or jumping around. Mm-hmm. Well, I get that same level of excitement when I heard CBS playing the da 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 da, and it's the March Madness intro, and Greg Gumbel's voice is playing.
Your tail just started wagging.
And man, I
didn't recognize it from that, but okay. I'll take your word for it.
But my tail started wagging. I started jumping up and down. I was just running from side to side like Skip used to do. I was just going from corner to corner of my little apartment, so it didn't take that long. But
hey, dog.
But so it's a good time of the year. It's bracket time. Everybody's filling out your brackets. And if you think you have a shot at, personally, I'm doubling down. I'm going Arizona for the championship. But if you want to fill out your brackets, and you think you can make a bracket better than me, Dad, or LJ. LJ's 50% on brackets he's filled out and won his bracket challenge. So we're not going to throw out the numbers again on how many times he's done it, but he's 50%. So
far I've won every other one, and I didn't win last time. So watch your ass.
I think he just threw out the numbers. So okay.
But if you think that you want to go on and challenge us, we want to invite any and every listener to jump on the justpressplaypod.com website and compete with us. We want you to fill out your brackets against us. We're going to do different scoring, so you can fill it out wherever. We're going to have a link for you, and you can do it through the ESPN brackets if you like, or wherever you like. But we want to see if you can beat us, and if you beat us, the winner will get a T-shirt, a Just Press Play T-shirt, and a chance, if you'd like to, come on the pod and shoot the shit with us. And LJ, I wanted you to give a little description of what those can do if they want to get in and join with us.
Well, just be on the lookout over the next few days, because we're going to post on our Facebook, on our website, on our Twitter, all the ways that you can get involved. It should be a relatively easy process. So just keep your eye out for it over the next couple days.
Yeah, and if you're not following us, if you're listening and you're not following us on Twitter or Facebook, go ahead. Come on, why not? I mean, we're cool people. I think we're sometimes funny.
Sometimes
we're sometimes even informative. Sometimes we mispronounce things. Hand up here. But go ahead and give us the like on both those, or follow. And Dad, can you give them a few just quick rules on how we're gonna do it and different things?
You bet, Kev. Kind of what we do on our scoring system is you get more points per win as the rounds progress. So that kind of keeps everybody in it. And also, if you correctly pick a higher seed to beat a lower seed, so in other words,
a 12 seed to beat a 5 seed.
12 to beat a 5, or an 8-9 is where I would start. So, the 8 plays the 9 in the first round. If you pick the 9th seed to win that game, you'd get a point for the win, and you get a bonus point for picking the lower seed. Now, if you pick the 10th seed, you get 2 extra bonus points. So on and so forth. If you were to pick a 16th seed to beat a number 1,
which has never happened.
Never happened. Yeah. We've had some 15s beat 2. We've absolutely had it. Arizona was on the unlucky end of one of those.
Duke's been
back
on
in the day.
The unlucky end of one of those.
Duke's been on it. I can't remember who beat Duke.
Lehigh.
But we've had some 15s. Lehigh. Wow. Right. So if you correctly pick, say, a 15 seed to beat a 2 seed, you would get 7 extra bonus points. And you will continue to get those bonus points if that lower seed keeps winning. So if you pick a 9th through 16 seed and they win 2 rounds, you get the bonus points every round they win. Okay?
So with what you're saying,
I got my strategy then. 16's all the way.
So
better Final Four.
All right, LJ's out. We're good.
All right. Yeah, good.
What you're saying with and you
no
can,
T-shirt for you.
Well, you can, and I think you have more to elaborate on. But I like what you were saying with you gain more points as the rounds go on. So even if your first round wasn't just the greatest, if you kind of kill the Sweet 16 or you win later in the round, you can make up a lot of ground late, right? You're not really out of it.
Right, because in the Final Four, if you pick winners in Final Four, that's 16 points for those winners. If you pick the championship game winner, it's 32. It kind of goes up by double every time.
Yeah.
So you're not completely out if you get to the championship game and you're within 32 points of the leader and you've got a different champion that still potentially could be a champion, I guess I'm saying, you can still win. So it keeps you in for a longer period of time. So
unless you pick
engaged.
All 16s in your Final Four, then it's a guaranteed win.
That's a guaranteed win. If something happened that's never ever happened, you would
4
be an
times
absolute winner.
and then keeps happening.
If you can talk everyone into pick the 16 seeds to go to the Final Four, we won't have to worry about having another person on the podcast for a while because one of us will win.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
Not LJ.
Go ahead and do that if that's what you want to do. But it'll be fun. So
we'll have more in-depth looks at the rules so you can really learn how it's scored and while you're picking out your bracket. I mean, that'll actually be posted before this episode even comes out, so a lot of you guys probably already know it exists and have maybe even already signed up, but we'll have that out there for you.
The brackets do have to be done by Thursday, around, say, 11 o'clock
11 a.m. on Thursday,
Central Time. So, yeah, they have to be in before the first game starts.
They have to be in front of us.
Games,
we need to...
Dad, what about playing games?
Oh, we don't do play-in games. So what we've decided is if you have a play-in team to advance, you get both those teams.
So I don't know for sure the play-in games, but say the 11 game, the 11 seeds are playing each
11
other.
seed, yeah.
And you pick that 11, like you want one of those winners to beat the 6 seed in that next matchup. You're just taking the winner of the playing game to win to the next round.
That's right.
Okay.
And the next. If you want to keep them
You're
going,
picking,
yes.
you kind of get both. If you pick that, you get both. Okay.
You know, I'm taking
That's
two
right.
of those to make the Final Four. So,
Yeah. Hell,
Well, he's gonna die on that boat,
Okay.
isn't he?
Yeah.
All right, and then let's segue into some of our favorite memories. Like, Dad, do you have a memory or player or a couple that might stand out? And any of them, we can kind of go around the table here.
Well, I have several. Do I just have to pick one? I should pick my best one.
Pick one, and then I'll go one, and then LJ can, if he has one. Like, I don't want you to corner the
I can
whole-
almost corner the
whole- all
market
of
because
them.
I've watched more than y'all. I've watched more than y'all.
You
That's
think?
true. I'm like,
Yeah, but you're not. You might not be smarter than
well, I
we
didn't
are.
say
Well,
I was
that has
smarter
nothing to do
memories.
with
You don't
it.
have to be smart to have a memory, dude. Jeez.
Okay, but you're okay. Well, go ahead. Give us one.
The first one that came to mind was my man Kevin Pittsnoggle. I really like. You could probably see that.
Did you like his game or his name?
Both. I got a little stats on him because I looked him up a little bit. So it was in 2005.
He's got a Hall of Fame game and a Hall of Fame name.
Well,
That doesn't
the
happen.
name
You don't get
Pittsnoggle
both
is
very
just
often.
that's perfect.
Yeah, it's
That's
awesome.
the best name ever. So he was a 6'11" center for West Virginia back in 2005. He came into the starting lineup in February of that year when the center, Dior Fisher, was unable to play because of an illness. He scored 27 points in that game that he came in, and they upset the Pitt Panthers, and he never left the starting lineup. And in fact, in the tournament, they made it all the way to the Elite Eight with Pittsnoggle scoring 22 points, 8 rebounds against Texas Tech in a win, and 25 points and 5 rebounds in a loss to Louisville that put Louisville in the Final Four. So they almost got to the Final Four. And what I remember about Pittsnoggle, I got to say, so he would get the ball. He was kind of that stretch center a little bit. He'd get the ball about the free throw line, maybe extended. He gets the ball. He either knocks that shot down, makes the pass, or he could even make a little move and score. And
that's one of my favorite players in March Madness is the big man who kind of makes that interior passing. There was a guy for Michigan State 2010, I think, when they made one of their Final Four runs, named like Herzog. He's like a 6'11" big dude. He would catch it about the free throw line. And it's just something beautiful when that big man can catch it and either right away, they either do like they shoot it or they pass to a cutter or they get it back out. They don't hold the ball for too long. They make a move and it's just the whole offense runs through him. North Carolina has a guy, Theo Pinson. He's kind of a little short for a forward, but he about a 6'6" or so, 6'7" maybe. But he does that kind of, he just makes a move. He either catches it and attacks or catches it, shoots, catches it and pass. And it's just beautiful when you see that.
yeah, that was mine.
A guy I liked, if just to stay on names a little bit, I got 2 of them, but Al-Farouq Manish
I very much
from
remember.
Northern Iowa when they upset Kansas in 2010. And another one, I didn't realize they were the same year, but another one in that same year was Omar Sandman from St. Mary's, whose nickname was Omar Sandman was his nickname, but his last name was actually Sandman, like Sam Han. He was like 6'11", 250, had some spin moves. I don't know. He just wasn't the most athletic guy in the world, but he was one of those you never hear about him after. You didn't hear about him before, but he kind of makes a name for himself during the month of March. And I love those kind of.
Yep.
Did you have a memory and player, L?
So the 2009 March Madness, I don't remember who won, but I know I did. That's
Okay.
So that's your memory.
Yep. I'm always busy in March. I don't have time to sit down and watch all the games, so I catch highlights and they're always great, but it's not as memory making, So
All right. Well, since he mentioned 2009, I get to mention one extra one, Kev. Okay. So 2000.
Mention it.
2009.
Yeah, I got a couple.
This is
There
awesome.
was there was this little point guard that played at Davidson named Stephon Curry. And
I remember that guy existing.
and
I don't know what he's
I'll
doing
tell
now.
you what
but-
got my attention. So I'm watching the games, and they get over to Sonia Curry, who is one good-looking woman.
Oh, you talking about Del Carey's baby mama, huh?
That's right. She is a pretty lady. And so anyway, I got to liking Stephon. I tried to catch his games. And
Side note, can I stop you
Yeah, that's
for a
it. I
minute?
just gonna
think
say
you've always called him Stephon Curry. I think it's just Stephen Curry.
Oh, is it? Is it just Stephen?
I don't know if maybe I'm a bad son that I haven't corrected you for the past 3 years, but you always say Stephon Curry. And I'm pretty sure he's not the same as Stephon Marbury.
I think you're right because when I was Googling him, I typed in Stephon and it came out Marbury. So, yeah. Okay, Stephen. All right, Stephen Curry. My bad.
And I think that's actually I probably should have said that before 4 years, but.
Is that like having something in my teeth and you not telling me? I mean,
basically you were kind of like Mike Tomlin with frozen snot in your beard, and I just let you coach a whole game on national TV with it.
Wow. Thanks, son. Okay.
For 4 years.
A couple other memorable moments. 2008, when the championship between Kansas and Kentucky. I think, Dad, you might have been
I was there. Wasn't that in San Antonio?
When Mario Chalmers hits the make it to overtime.
I can see him hitting it. I know where I was sitting. I know where he shot the shot.
That was the year they beat. The first time I think we really got a hold of. I mean, Calipari made her start at UNLV, but first time people my age kind of learned who Calipari was with the Derrick Rose, Chris Douglas Roberts, Joey Dorsey run.
In fact, at that game, Kevin, I went and saw the game with David Robinson. I mean, he wasn't sitting next to me.
No, that was the one where you sent me. That was the one where you sent me a picture of.
He was sitting like 2 rows over, and I mean, he was sitting in seats like we were, seats that are for 5'10" people. And I mean, he was scrunched up. He looked so uncomfortable.
It couldn't have been comfortable for him.
I mean, he had knees for days, but yeah.
That reminds me. Speaking of, just because he's the admirable there, and we were talking about good names. There's a guy on. He might be one of the memorable players he's on Tennessee, but his name's Admiral Schofield, and he can light it up from 3. I love his name. I just think it's cool.
What was his name again?
Admiral. I can't say it right now.
Yeah, that's obvious. Try it again.
All right, and I wanted to get on a couple of other memorable moments.
Well, I got another one actually.
Okay, all right. Besides just you winning,
yeah, no, this one is also selfish. Didn't I make it on TV during one March Madness? I was on SportsCenter.
LJ absolutely was on TV on SportsCenter in Denver, Colorado, when Arkansas was in the Final Four. Gosh, so that would have had to have been 90.
Sounds.
You were born in 89. It probably was 90. Or 91.
He was just a little baby kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was Lindsey. Is it Lindsey Howe? Whatever, that just could jump out of the gym. But anyway, we didn't win that year. But I think Duke won it all that year. That might have been the year they played UNLV.
Was that Christian Laettner year?
That might have been, or Bobby Hurley. That might have been the year Bobby Hurley had the stomach issues. I'll put it more politely than Mike Krzyzewski did during the game.
What was it? Did he have the runs or something?
Well, I mean, he had stomach issues. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, LJ was on SportsCenter, ESPN SportsCenter. Sure was.
That's what I remember about March Madness is what you can do for me. It has nothing to do with the game, but
you can care less about the game. You're all about LJ here.
What's in it for me?
And then just in the 2016 tournament run, the past 2 years, we've really had a couple of amazing finishes where the Chris Jenkins in the national championship for Villanova hit that 3.
Wasn't that his name? The Big Smooth?
Yeah, he hit that 3 on North Carolina. That was just the sequence of events when North Carolina hits the 3. I think Joel Berry hits a 3 that it looks like he just throws up a prayer and makes it. And you're like, oh my God, North Carolina's going to win on that. And then Nova goes right down and hits a 3 like 3 seconds later to win the whole damn thing. And confetti falls down. And I remember they went back, I actually rewatched the video, and they went back to the refs were going to see if there was time still on the clock after he made it. And it's a good thing that there was no time left on the clock because confetti was all over the court. I mean, players were everywhere. I don't know. That would have been a mess if they'd had to put like a half a second back on.
Do you remember, Kevin? You might. I was at that game too, and I remember that shot.
God, dog.
Yeah. Well, I've been fortunate enough to get to go to a few Final Fours, and I mean, I love them. But the guy, the point guard that passed the ball to him, do you remember? He had a very interesting name. If you can, we'll have to look that up and add it in later because we'll put it on the website. He had I just remember he's a good player. He reminded me of the guy at Ohio State, the point guard that was so tough. I should know these names if I'm bringing my bad.
Aaron Kraft or
Kraft?
Aaron Kraft
He was a defensive lockdown guy. I mean, he was.
I loved it. That's exactly how Aaron Kraft was. I loved his game.
Yeah, I loved his game, and this guy was similar to that, and he had a very interesting name. But like, I'm Pitsnoggle. I like Pitsnoggle. I like names. So,
and then last year you had the North Carolina Kentucky game where Malik Monk for Kentucky goes and hits a three, and then I love it when a coach, and Roy Williams is kind of known for this, and I like it. So North Carolina hits that three, and instead of calling a timeout, Roy Williams just lets North Carolina inbound it, and they run all the way down the court. And Kentucky, because you think about it, Kentucky's like, oh my God, we won the thing. We just hit the three to win it. And they don't quite get back on D, and they're guarding the guy that races down the court, but then no one guards Luke May, who's posted up for the mid-range shot, hit him, and he hits the game winner on the buzzer. So in that 9-second span, both teams hit a game winner. And that one that finish was amazing, but that also got me to what your opinion is, Dad. Do you like a coach not calling the timeout there, or would you want to call? If you were the coach, would you want to call a timeout and set up your play? Because you let the defense set up also.
I like the let them play, and I like that you have. I mean, your team is coached up such that they know what to do. They have a 9-second play from inbounding from beneath their basket. Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head. The defense is not going to be as good because they're excited. They think we've got it. They're going to leave somebody open, and you got to trust that guy to hit that shot. So I like not calling the timeout.
And I think I love that, like you're saying, it obviously North Carolina went into that defensive possession saying, let's stop Kentucky. Let's not let them hit a three. They didn't want to give up a three, but they didn't flinch at all. And that was the same North Carolina team that just lost that terrible, heartbreaking loss you saw in person to Villanova the year before. Mm-hmm. So, and there was there was Joel Berry, who's a junior. He's been through it. Luke May's been through it. There aren't just freshmen like the one and done ends up happening with a lot of Calipari's teams. But so those guys, instead of flinching and thinking, oh, we lost, they go to their 9-second play that, like you're saying, clearly that was something they practiced. It wasn't like
clearly they just
didn't know what they were doing. They were like, got the ball out of the net, inbound it in Kentucky before they even could realize. Because I don't blame it on Kentucky being freshmen. If I'm Malik Monk and I just hit a shot with 9 seconds, it was a great 3-point shot. It's hard not to get a little caught in the moment and lose sight of. It's hard for your first thought to be, let me go find my man and get on Luke May. You kind of are a little excited. Then you realize, oh shit, they're inbounding it. Let's get back. And it's too late at that point. And that I like not calling the timeout if your team's capable of it, because I like not giving the defense time to really set up
to get set up. I agree.
I was going to also ask y'all's opinion on Oklahoma made the tournament. They were one of the last 4 in, and they had an abysmal run down the end of the year. They're Trae Young. They were at one point this year, they were ranked number 4 in the nation, and they've just been rough coming down the stretch. And probably don't deserve to be in the tournament resume-wise to some other teams that didn't make it, but they probably get in because, one, I don't know if the committee chooses this at all, but if they want to get eyeballs on the games, you want Trae Young in. I mean, Trae Young's
true.
If not the most fun player to watch. The guy can go for 40 any moment. He's going to be the first player. He is now the first player ever to lead the nation in scoring and assist. So, what's your? Do you think the team with the better resume gets in no matter what, or would you rather the team with Trae Young get in? If I'm the other team, I'm obviously not wanting Trae. I want my resume to get in. But
the right answer is the better team needs to get in with the better resume. That's the way it needs to be, and that's, if I was on the selection committee, that's the way I would tend to side, that the better team with the better RPI numbers, the better record. If it comes down, if there's a distinct difference, that team gets in. If it's even and Trae Young's on 1, I'm putting Trae Young's team in.
As a fan, I know you're probably right. If you're the committee, you just go with, you don't even need, there's no reason to look at star players or who's going to watch, what's going to attract the most eyes. You should look at, here's this team's wins, here's this team's wins, compare them. The better team should get in. But as a fan, if it's between Trae Young or Middle Tennessee might have a better resume, but I want Trae Young in there because he could go on a Steph Curry run where he just wins 3 games on his own, because that's what happens in March. A guy can win a couple of games on his own.
Well, and real quick, Arkansas was playing so good in the first couple of games in the SEC tournament. And talk about a team that could go on a run. If Gafford's probably gone after this year for Arkansas, but he's playing amazing.
Especially if they play good in the tournament.
But Barford's finally found his shot a little bit. Macon is Mr. Consistent. I mean, so the new triplets, if you will, Kev. I'm just telling you, they could go on a run. If Barford finds his shot.
I was writing about that. They could, but they also, I could see Arkansas come out that can't get a bucket. I'm nervous about them because I don't want to get too excited because they can make a run, but
Gafford's playing smart, Kev. He's not.
He is.
He's not getting stupid fouls. I read your article, and he does. He's kind of going down to the post and making himself available, and he's moving out. So I think he's
playing good ball.
He's playing really good ball right now. So
my answer to the question is, give me the most exciting game. So I'm saying, let the star in that can take a game and put it on his back, because like, if you're worried about the integrity of the game, then pay the damn players. I just want to be entertained.
I want Trey Young in the game, man. I want to see the stars. Obviously if their team is garbage and they're below 500 or something, maybe not. But if it's a toss up between this team and they got a guy that, because in March, Trey Young gives you a real chance to beat any team in a winner go home game. Well, that's what you're looking for, is a team that can actually go in and make a run. Like you put in your teams by saying this team has a legit chance at making a run. Not Middle Tennessee might be better, but they're just going to get run over. There's no way they'll. I hate to keep dogging on Middle Tennessee. They might have made it. I don't know.
Jeez.
But Middle Tennessee had a chance. They should have won. They were the favorites to win their conference tournament and didn't win it, and so it's their fault that they're not automatic bid. But I guess Oklahoma could have won more games too. But I want stars in. I'm with LJ. I want Trey Young in. I think Bama got in with Colin Sexton. I want to see those players that can really take a game over and really be fun to watch. I want those guys.
Basketball might be the most likely sport of any team sport to have one player come in and make a huge difference. So,
no doubt, one player can sure make a difference in basketball, unlike some other sports.
Yeah, can win or lose you a game.
No doubt about it. I'm not arguing with you guys. I want to watch Trey Young play. I really do want to see him play.
But you want the best team to win also.
The argument that, but I think it. So let's say Middle Eastern State. Let's take
Middle Eastern State, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. But they probably don't have a chance to win a game because they don't have a Trey Young. I mean, Trey Young can win a game because of what you just said, LJ. At basketball, one player can make more of a difference than most sports. So I still stick by what I said. The best team ought to get in.
Best resume gets in.
I still get what y'all are saying and can't argue it.
Best thing about March Madness is the bench mobs. You get these guys that never get on TV, and basketball is just good where you get the bench, but in these games, you get these guys who have been playing on Conference USA Network or whatever. They haven't been on national TV. Now all of a sudden they're on national TV, and you get to see a lot of the classic bench mobs where you get to make a real bench mob. You need the one guy who's going to just start throwing up. You can always throw up 3-point fingers. I mean, even if it's a dunk, it's always able to throw up threes. Then you got your crazy towel waver that's just going nuts. Then there's the one guy that's going to just fall down, just needs to go unconscious because he can't believe what he just saw. He just drops down. And then you got guys that just are slapping the floor. I mean, a good bench mob, there's nothing better. I love it. And it's great to see the guys that this is their one, as the tournament tries to say, it's their one shining moment. It's their one chance to get this opportunity. So freaking live it up. It's awesome.
Why is it MOP in the NCAA tournament instead of MVP?
I don't know. Why
it's
is it most outstanding
player, in the NCAA?
Maybe just to be different.
Well, because if you indicate that they have value, then you should be paying them.
Amateurism. They got to keep that amateurism rule up. The word they've coined and made up. So it's just their way of not paying athletes. But
it's the most useful free player is what the actual acronym.
It's as good as anything I've ever heard. El. Yeah, I'm here. You.
The MUFP, the most useful free player. Which that gets me real quick to. I saw someone say, I think it was Jay Williams and maybe Jalen Rose even said it, that the way the players can really make a statement is if they boycott the tournament or boycott the Final Four. And I get it. That is a way to really, if you boycotted that didn't show up for the Final Four, you get change. But you're telling these people, how many guys in the tournament? I mean, there are some in the pros, but say 15 guys on each roster for 65 plus teams. Majority of those guys, this is the last time they're playing organized basketball. And they're getting to play it. They've got a chance to get accepted into the tournament. They're getting to play in the tournament for the championship. They're on national TV, and like we're talking about, you got guys from St. Bonaventure and Virginia Commonwealth. It's not guys like at Kansas that have been on ESPN all year. And you're telling there's your one chance to play basketball on the big screen.
Your one shining moment.
Your one shining moment, and you should not show up. So guys next year can get paid. Guys, I get it. It would do something, and sometimes to make change, you have to make change for the people behind you, not for you. But that's
you have to be the one that loses out.
It's a lot to ask for these 18 to 22-year-olds to sit out of their chance in the tournament. They might have waited. This might be their senior year, and they've tried to get the tournament every year, and they finally got in. And now you're like, you should boycott tournament. That's a lot to ask.
Well, and it's got to start from the top down. If you're going to do something like that, the only teams that I think would conceivably do it would be the teams that feel like they're going to be there next year anyway.
And it's easy for Jalen Rose and Jay Williams, who I love both of them, but it's easy for guys like them they were star players. They've obviously their game worked out well for them. They went to the pros and now they're made it into TV personalities. It's easy for them to say X players should sit out. You're asking a lot of these guys who, as we know, aren't getting paid for anything and are maybe playing their last bit of basketball. As the NCAA likes to say, most of these players are going pro in something other than sports. So, all right. So now I want to try out a segment really just to try and make me a little bit smarter because Lord knows I need it.
Because we can't make you prettier. So
we're
LJ, we got our hands full, buddy.
All right, get ready, boys. We're going to do a little explain it to Kevin. So, you know the thing that a lot of people have it at their work or their office, and it's that big like fountain where you take the big top, whenever it's empty, you take the big empty top part off and you put a new water container and it's around the water cooler.
Okay. Yeah.
First off,
and it goes bloop, 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 bloop. You get water. Yeah, okay.
First off,
that'll be a transition sound, by the way.
I was wondering, first off, once I started thinking about this, who I'd never see that thing change. It's empty sometimes and then it's full. Like, does someone come and change that? Do we change it at the office?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I've had to change a few of those myself.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure somebody does.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it by itself, Kevin.
Well,
yes.
Well, I knew it didn't do it by itself, but I thought, I don't know. So there's a cold water toggle and a warm water toggle.
Yep.
And the cold water puts out good, solid cold water. Like, I enjoy it. That's good water. I don't need to put ice in it, even if like I don't have to deal with my little that's not enough ice. That's too much ice issue that we talked about last week. I just have good water. Why it doesn't that I felt the side of that the other day. It's not cold. Like why is it getting my water colder?
Are you serious?
Kevin, when was the last time you felt the side of your refrigerator? Is that cold?
No, but it's different. That's different material than this plastic thing. That's why we have this segment, guys. That's why we have this segment.
Yeah. Don't make fun of him. He's asking a real question,
no stupid
LJ.
Question,
we need to help him here. Okay.
Yeah. No, there's a cooler
compressor. There's a little compressor under there that gets the water colder
instantly. Though
it's in that little reservoir. It's like a Keurig.
No,
you know how a Keurig works.
Wait. Let's go. Tell me. I don't know. No,
it's magic.
Well, a Keurig, you have a thing of water sitting on the side.
That takes
usually of tap water.
That takes a Keurig. I have to turn it on and I press brew and it has to heat up. Like, it's not just instantly hot.
Well, that's what Dad's saying. Is it's doing that all day, and then when you pour it, the little thunk 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 is water going into the cooling reservoir. Well, it's not instantly cold. There's like a little spot in there that keeps it cold. The top thing
where that water's in the jug, that's just room temperature water. But the water that comes out is not room
that's
temperature
lukewarm water.
That is cold water.
There is a reservoir underneath, Kevin, that keeps
what do you
the
think
water
happens
chilled.
in that white box?
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
And sometimes that little white box is humming.
No,
you can hear it
never
humming.
heard of
It's
humming.
probably plugged in.
See, now you're
it's
wait,
plugged in.
Are you just trying to make me look like an idiot? Because now I'm going to go to work and put my ear up next to that thing, and someone's going to look
You
at
know,
me.
I'm not needing a lot of help, but
Well,
You're already
yeah.
feeling it up.
Y'all told me to ask the
Seriously,
questions
they're-
that I can't explain, and y'all were going to explain to me. Y'all didn't say this is.
Well, no,
y'all
we're
didn't say
trying-
this
no,
was
we're
time to
trying to
make
tell-
Kevin
Does that
sound like
explain
an
it?
idiot time. I did that on their whole. That's the rest of the podcast. That's not this segment.
We're not doing that. You're doing that. Does that make sense though?
No, I think I'm just going to have to chalk this up to this thing is an anomaly, and I don't
it's
know
magic.
how it's happening.
Here, Kevin,
I'll accept it.
Kevin, it's magic. It's magic.
Okay, well, tell me,
right, what
tell
else
me
you got?
another bit of wizardry.
What
There's some
next?
more wizardry I want to know about. On a candle, when you light it, those little black tips,
Okay.
if I light this piece of paper right here, it burns eventually away to
Yes.
ash, and it's no longer something I can burn.
Yes.
Those little black tips never burn out. Why?
LJ, do you have this or?
Oh, is this?
I mean, do you want it? I can take it.
I mean, it's pretty simple. Yeah. But
I mean, they do burn up, Kevin. They do disappear.
No, they don't.
They
I
They
have a
they
candle
just
sitting
disappear
in
at the same
front
level
me.
of the wax.
how tall was the wick when you started? How tall was it?
It
when
was
you started?
about a centimeter above the wax. And it still
And
is
how-
about a centimeter above the wax.
And how has the wax changed? Is the wax level lower?
I didn't mark it. I don't know where the wax is at.
Oh, yes, you do. I mean, the candles, they're full of wax, and then they're less full of wax.
I
See?
thought,
Come
no,
on.
but that black, so you're saying that little black piece, I can't see it at the bottom of my candle, so you're saying it goes all the way down to the bottom of the
It
candle?
is. It's a piece of string called a wick. That's the scientific term. Is a wick. It's a string that's been dipped in wax, and it runs all the way to the bottom of the candle.
So it is burning down. It doesn't just burn
Yes, it is.
forever, like it seems like it. Okay.
Correct. And it comes out in
You
smoke.
want me to be Bill Nye the Science Guy just a little bit? Okay.
Do it.
I'll tell you what's going on.
Bill.
Okay. So basically, the lit wick, the wick is lit, and the fire
It's
burn.
lit.
It melts.
Did we get what a wick is, Kevin?
You understand what the
you know
wick
what the wick
is?
is?
Yeah, you told me what it is. A string, it's a string
So
dipped in
the
wax.
wicks, the fire's burning at the end of the wick. The fire melts the wax. As the wax melts and is in a liquid form, the wick absorbs the wax and is actually pushed up. And what is truly burning is the wax vapor. The wax vapor
There is a lot of information being thrown at me right now.
Yeah, I just learned something new there. Wow, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm having a
and
hard
as a
time
matter of fact,
comprehending it.
When you first blow out a candle, try this. This was an experiment that I read and I suggested, but I'm gonna try it. When you first blow out a candle, get a lit match and just hold it where that white smoke, you see that white smoke that comes out initially?
Mm-hmm.
Hold it in that white smoke, and that's that wax vapor, and it should take the fire back down to the wick.
It will.
Okay?
I've done it. It'll relight your candle.
It'll relight your candle.
Yeah.
So
Huh?
it's the wax vapor that is burning. And also some of the wick. It burns slower than a piece of paper, but it is in fact burning. And if you've ever burned a candle down to the very end, you'll see the liquid, and you'll see the glass at the bottom, and it's on a little metal thing. I mean, the wick does eventually burn. It just burns slow.
Y'all can tell me all these other things, and you think you have an explanation for it. All right, if you are still listening to the pod, then you know that we sometimes
Thank you. Number
One,
one.
Yeah, much appreciated.
One, you're one of the valued, consistent listeners, which just means you have good taste, obviously. But
Clearly.
you know, we sometimes dive into topics that have nothing to do with the sports world. And I, for one, wanted to bring up, I lost some beauty sleep last night, which is something I need. I don't need to lose it. Yeah. It's a good thing this is all audio and not a visual podcast. But
Yeah.
we lost. It's daylight savings time, so we sprung forward. Now we get a little more sun, but it stays darker later.
We get the exact same amount of sun, I want to say.
You do get the same amount of sun. It's just you get
The amount that we actually
they
use
took an hour
changes.
from
but-
the morning, and they're giving it to us
Wait,
in the
what?
evening, Kevin.
I thought we just got an extension.
The government got together and said, "Hey, son, bring it on just a little bit longer."
Well, anyway, Dad, can you tell me how the hell, who decided that this was something we're going to do? We're going to adjust our clocks for certain times of the year.
Well, I could give you a little synopsis of how it seemed to get started. So,
can you give me the Cliff Notes?
Cliff Notes. So in 1784, Ben Franklin penned what really was a satirical letter, I believe, but he penned a letter to the editor of the Journal of Paris outlining how many pounds of candle wax the city would save. He calculated 64 million pounds of candle wax if only the clocks were better aligned with the rise and set of the sun. If residents had trouble adjusting, he suggested the city let a cannon be fired in every street to wake the sluggards effectively. So he came up with it to actually.
Old Ben had a sense of humor.
Well, he did.
He suggested that it would save energy, and so you've got daylight. You're not burning your electric. Of course, I guess we didn't have electric lights at the time. It was candles, and they're burning that much candle wax for longer. Where you're going to sleep in the morning. Give me and personally, and I know we'll get into this some, but personally, I like that hour of daylight more in the evening. I would tend to use it more than I would early in the morning.
You like it when we get that little extension on daylight, that extra daylight.
I like that extra daylight. I'm very thankful for that. Yes. So that's my understanding of kind of how daylight savings time got started.
Can y'all explain something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
So daylight savings time, is that now when the clock is moved up, or is that when we move the clocks back? When is daylight savings time?
Now.
Okay.
Yeah, we were on, LJ, correct me if I'm wrong, we were on standard time.
I believe you're right.
Yesterday, and this is daylight savings time that gives us the extra hour in the evening. And there's a lot of financial gain that's come of it as well, by the way.
What? Like what?
Well, I can tell you that in 1986, when Congress changed daylight saving times from 6 months to 7, the golf industry said it brought in an extra $200 million because people could play golf now until 8 o'clock at night.
Wow.
For longer.
That makes sense.
The barbecue industry said it meant an extra $100 million to them, that extra month of an extra hour of daylight, because you're buying more grills and more charcoal and lighter and what have you. So there's been actually some financial gain to some industries directly related. I know I work in the convenience store industry, and it makes a huge difference for us. I mean, our sales go up. People buy more fuel, more soda pops, cigarettes, beer, you name it. Yeah,
I can see
absolutely. That. We know. You can tell when time changes in our business. We want it year round. I mean, we love daylight savings time.
It wouldn't have any effect year round, would it? I mean, people would just adjust their lives.
Yes, but I just think that but when it's standard time in the winter and it's dark at 5:15, you're just in. So maybe if it stayed light till 6:15, you might run around a little bit more. I mean, at night, most people are just going to get in their house and they're not going to be out spending money.
Did y'all see that the state of Florida is moving the legislation to try to end or make year-round daylight savings time? Did y'all see that?
I haven't seen that. I know Arizona and Hawaii do not observe it. So and I think in Arizona, they're like, I don't need another hour in the evening when it's hot. They just leave it like it is.
Well,
so you don't have to do it.
3 Republicans from Florida have sponsored legislation citing their support for year-round daylight savings time, and the claims that it would improve the economy, public safety, and mental health.
Public safety. I read a stat on MSNBC where law enforcement has found that crime has consistently dropped during daylight savings time by 10% to 13%.
But so it rises once daylight savings time ends?
Yeah, that's what they're suggesting. So
if it rises by the same amount, then that's almost no effect, isn't it? Like it's...
Well, no. I'm sorry. I didn't say that I don't know that it rose when it ends. I'm saying, I'll read it. The U.S. Law Enforcement Assistance Administration found that crime has consistently dropped during daylight savings time by 10 to 13%. So I guess that sounds like it probably goes back to normal at Central Time. I'll have to do some research on that.
That is interesting.
But
yeah,
I found
that's interesting
because I thought people would be out more, doing more things, potentially more crime. But I guess more crime happens when there's more dark.
Yeah, I guess the cover of dark probably does help out with criminal activity.
Yeah.
I'm super anti daylight savings time, or at least the change. Like if they went with something that was year round, I'd be much happier. And I'll give you a few reasons why. But first off, it's just selfish. I hate changing my sleep schedule. Like it's my sleep schedule is already like absurd and just changes based on what I'm doing. And so then to throw at me like this morning, I had an hour less of sleep, and I also had to remember to change my clocks to make sure that I woke up on time. And it just, I don't know, it throws me that whole next day and makes me worse at my job for, like a week or so, getting used to the change. And then
I'm with you on that. The change itself is not easy, but
and apparently the change causes more auto accidents, particularly pedestrians getting hit in the week of the change. Walkers are 3 times more likely to be killed by cars.
Wow.
So your chance of dying to a car as you're a pedestrian goes up tremendously during that week. Another thing is children are less visible going to school in the winter when it's really, really dark in the morning.
Yeah.
So, that's dangerous. Farmers have complained about it for years because chickens don't care about the time change. So they still have to wake up at the same time and do the same things that they want to do. And so then all they have to do is do their job just like they normally would. But now every business that they go to opens up at a different hour for 6-7 months. So
is there any negative to just having daylight savings time all the time? What's the downside?
Well, I just think there wouldn't be a point to it anymore. We would just adjust our lives accordingly.
Right. But I mean, let's don't change the time, except it would be very dark for an extended period of time in winter when kids are going to school, which I think is some of the reason daylight.
Well, yeah, it would make it to where while kids are waiting for the bus stop or walking to school in the winter,
it's really dark.
It's pitch black. They'd almost need to wear
I just think if you want that extra hour in the summer, then wake up earlier. That's the way I see it. Is
I will say
have
back
control
in the
over
day,
that.
I loved it when we could play basketball till 8:30. Like I remember we would go, oh, now we can stay outside and actually see the ball
till almost 9 o'clock at some
yeah.
point. Yeah, I love that. By the way, what other thing on the financial part? The candy makers all got together and really pushed to have daylight savings time moved to stay in effect until after Halloween, because if it's daylight, there's more trick or treaters, and I believe that it was something crazy like $200 million more candy they sell when they get that extra hour of daylight.
Oh, the old Hershey's company was pushing. They wanted.
I'm telling you, it's a big deal financially in a lot of ways. So I say leave it that way all the way around and just never do the change, because the change is difficult, LJ.
The change is my only problem with it. I hate the change so much.
Difficult. I like I like the other change where you fall back because you get an extra hour of sleep.
But I mean, that is much better, but it's not worth the.
But then it gets dark
to me
so early.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't care for it. I also work best at 2 a.m. So sometimes that's actually 3 a.m. and sometimes that's actually 1 a.m. And my circadian rhythms don't have any sort of awareness anymore. Like I don't know. It screws me up. I hate it and kills people. So it's not just selfish.
And it kills people.
No, but you hate the change. You hate the change. Just go to a consistent time and keep it that way.
And the change is what kills people too. And also people don't show up for work on the change day either because their alarms are wrong.
Let's go on to the segment that we like to. Here's what we like to end the show with, and a little. What are you listening to? So I want to ask LJ, what have you been listening to over the last week or so?
So I mentioned August Green at the top of the show, and so I'm gonna say that I've been listening to them, and then I'm also gonna throw out a group called Tank and the Bangas. I don't know if either of you have ever listened to them.
You've told me about them before, El. Yeah.
I've told you guys both you need to listen to them. They've got this Tiny Desk concert. Have you ever watched the Tiny Desk concert series?
I've watched something on YouTube. I guess, is that it?
Yeah. So it's a YouTube series, and they did a Tiny Desk concert, and it's 30 minutes long or 23 minutes long, I think. And I would suggest to anybody that wants to have a really great musical experience, sit down and instead of watching a TV show, watch that Tiny Desk concert, because it's incredible. It's moving. It's some of the best music I've ever heard.
Well, don't spoil it for me.
I hate you.
Well, be sure to put that on the website. I want to check it out again. So
yeah, it'll be up there.
What have you been listening to?
And I may have mentioned this group to you guys before, but they're relatively new. The Spencer Lee Band. I'm really into the Spencer Lee Band right now. The song that I first heard that I liked is "Kissing Tree," I heard it on Pat Monahan's Train Tracks. And then I realized that they're also in one of the, I don't know how many of the
50 Shades.
50 Shades. How many movies of those are there out now? I don't know. But they have one in there. I think it's called The Wolf.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's a rocking song. Yeah. It is really good. Anyway, what I'm listening to is Spencer Lee Band. And if you hadn't, check them out. Kissing Tree, and I believe it's The Wolf. But Kissing Tree is my favorite song.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what I've been listening to, I got on a kick, so I listened to a little bit of Nas the other day.
Good choice.
And then I got onto someone I haven't really listened to at all, and I kind of dig Big Pun. My boy Big Pun's pretty good.
Who's Big Pun?
Okay.
I'm Not a Player. That's one of his big songs.
I might have to look him up again.
Go listen to some Big Pun. I was digging him. I've heard his name and I've heard him referenced in a few different things, and I was like, well, I've never really actually listened to him, so I gave him a listen. And then go listen to Danza Kuduro. It's like a Mexican song.
Okay.
I don't even know who it's by. That's a fault on me. But it literally can be played on any playlist. You could be, working out. You can be sitting on the couch. You could be. It's a great time at a wedding. It's anywhere. It's just awesome. It's like my new favorite song for the time being.
I love songs in different languages.
And I think that's going to do it for the show. As always, go find us on Facebook or Twitter. Make sure to join in our bracket challenge if you think you're smart enough to. We'll really just compete with me and Dad because LJ's only picking 16 seeds. So
I might pick a high school.
You got him beat. All you got to do is join, and you'll have him.
I might pick a high school.
Pick a high school.
So get in. Leave us some comments if you think you have the right way to spell sniff. Go ahead and spell it for us, like the sound of an actual sniff. Yeah, man, we appreciate you listening. We love all the loyal listeners, and this podcast it's not brought to you by anybody yet, but if you're looking to sponsor something, this is where we can mention you here and at the top of it. So go check out the website at www.justpressplaypod.com, or you can find us on Twitter at JPPpod, or on Facebook at Just Press Play Podcast. So go check us out and keep on listening. I think that'll do it.
All right.
Peace.
Hit the